And some sad news from the world of entertainment. Naomi Judd has died.
Kentucky-born singer Naomi Judd has died at the age of 76. Judd and her daughter Wynonna represented the Grammy-winning duo, the Judds.
And we have breaking news from the world of entertainment. Country music legend Naomi Judd has died. The matriarch of the Grammy-winning duo, the Judds, was 76. The Judds were to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame on Sunday. They also just announced an arena tour that was set to begin in the fall.
Hi, I'm Joseph Fenity. I just played for you several of the headlines that you've heard over the last 24 hours. The big news this weekend was to be that the Judds would be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Well, that is still the case, and that has happened. What wasn't expected was the sudden and tragic loss of one half of the Judds, Naomi Judd. So here I am doing what only a fan knows how to do. I told you over the years I was such a big Judd fan, and there you have it. Here's the tangible evidence of my Judd journey. So I hope that you will join me as we celebrate the sound of the Judds and the life of Naomi Judd. I hope that you will, I don't know, put a record on or throw on. Do you like that I got these tapes out, by the way? Tapes. That's crazy. Hope that you'll join me. What I'm going to do is I have combed through the video archives. Yes, I have my own version of video archives. Stuff that you won't see on YouTube. Stuff that, the Country Music Hall of Fame doesn't let you easily get to. Stuff that will probably get this live feed thrown off at some point. I have the best of the Judds video archives. I have the best clips, the best Naomi Judd moments that I'm going to share with you. So I'm saving you a trip to YouTube. I'm saving you a copyright strike. And in memory of Naomi Judd, a great songwriter, a great singer, we will go through the video archives tonight. Let's get started. I think you'll like this.
And Mama, he's crazy, crazy over me. And in my life is where he says he always wants to be.
I was born graduation week. Mother graduated into motherhood. I kind of made her miss her graduation.
My mother had me when she was 18. I had Wynonna when I was 18, and she was getting close to her 18th birthday. I have to tell you, I was worried. I've done a variety of colorful jobs. Went out to Hollywood in my early 20s. Then I was a single parent, so I've had to raise the two kids I've been a secretary, worked in a health food store, worked for a Jewish philanthropist, a whole bunch of things, whatever it took as just barely a high school graduate to keep food on the table.
She's real new at songwriting, but I have a lot of faith in Mom because she's written just, a few songs, and the next song she wrote after that is on our next album. So I'm real proud of her. She hasn't had the time for songwriting, but she's hoping to get into it, and do it more.
Well, I have to say, too, that Wynonna's my favorite female vocalist. She sincerely is. And she's an inspiration. When I write, I can hear her doing it, and that really motivates me. I'll run in the middle of the night and say, grab your guitar, guess what, I want you to do this.
I love it.
This line, and then when I hear her do it back to me, I go on and on and on. I've only written 16 songs, but she helps me.
Did you so wrong all along that I had my boss lie for me to say I was working late, have a change of heart, just have a change of heart. I see what I put you through, and I'll make it up to you. Please have a change. have a change of heart.
I really didn't have anything to show for my life till I was about 35, and it's as if when we got into the business and these fans out here validated me and gave me some level of self-confidence, and I felt like I could do something right for the first time. But Wynonna and Ashley and I were just, we were really an embattled trio. I mean, I was on welfare at one point. You know, we didn't even have a car. The sheriff would be at the door with an eviction notice because I couldn't pay the rent. And we went through some really, really hard times together. I would go into a trance every night about 6 o'clock because that's usually when I would start. Wynonna and I jump on the bus. We'd start putting on our Judd lips and, you know, the outfits and doing vocal warm-ups and making up the set list. And I just felt like my whole life I'd waited for that career. I felt like all the garbage, you know, all the struggles I'd had, all the times I'd been knocked down were suddenly worthwhile. The three of us, Wynonna and Ashley and I, that was it. We were comrades in the trenches, and we were all each other had, and I think she loved me so much and needed me so desperately that she resented me. And she and Ashley were both very high-spirited teenage girls at the time.
To say the
I wouldn't trade any of it because I wouldn't know what I know now. It's kind of like in life, experience gives us the test first and the lessons later. And I've got a lot of experience. Ever since I can remember, I cannot tolerate suffering. I just can't. One of my first memories is being aware that I couldn't stand to see somebody in pain or unhappy, and I have to do whatever I can do to help them. But what I meant about being an RN and being a victim of a chronic disease and whatever visibility being in country music has allowed me, I know that God has a purpose for me, and I think all those things come together as perhaps a trajectory to launch me onto the next thing. And I find myself struggling to be that translator for folks and to stand in the gap between not just modern medicine and explain to people, you know, the medical jargon and translate that to the average person on the street, but also between the religious community, the spiritual community, and the scientific community. There's two huge chasms right now. We have to step out of that orthodoxy. We have to step out of these old molds. And doctors today, God bless them, they just don't have a clue. They just treat the disease. Well, am I going to get in trouble for this?
No.
They treat the disease and they ignore the person who has the disease. And I used to get in trouble, frankly, in the clinical setting because I would call folks by their first name. You weren't Mr. Snyder to me.
Tom.
You weren't just the cholecystectomy. You were Tom. Coretta King one time said, you got to build on your strength, recognize your weakness, create opportunities, and always strive for spiritual idealism. And I think that's how Wynonna and I got started.
The Judds come from Mother's imagination, from Wynonna's soul.
Someone had given Mom an old guitar, and she kept it. I'm real glad she did, because I remember it was real funky. It was like one of those wonderful gut string, you know, we're talking real slimy. And I just found myself, I think I probably picked it up one day to beat Ashley with it or something. RCA had gotten wind about these two girls from Kentucky, the mother-daughter. They sing with one guitar.
My memories of our childhood always include her playing the guitar, the recorder, trying to get her hands on more records, listening to the radio, singing.
They said, of course, wear a nice dress, bring your guitar. We would like for you to sing for some people. And we walked in, they all stood up. And at that moment I felt like, you know, those scenes in movies where you're in the police headquarters and they shine a big light on your face, you know, and they're all wearing hoods with their eyes cut out. And at first I thought, well, they think we're really weird or something. And we sang a few minutes, and then Joe said, well, we'd like to talk. So would you all mind, like, stepping out? And we left the room. And I remember thinking, they hate us. No, What they're going to say, go home and clean your room, like grow up, and come back, you know, later.
You know in your heart of hearts when things are right, when you go, yes, this is how it was meant to be. That's how it feels when we sing together.
They said, congratulations, you're an RCA artist.
This place is filled with such incredible power. The New Agers say there's got energy vortexes here. We just have amazing strength. Oh, yes. I just needed to show you the spirit of cooperation among this incredible family crew of ours. I'm wearing white, and I wore a black brassiere today. So they told us to go change clothes. So Gina and I changed underwear. So here we are behind the bushes, changing underwear, and we look up, and yes, there are 3 fans. Oh, you and I had
closer than ever.
Unprecedented success, you know, with the #1 records and the platinum albums and the concerts and all that.
And I got a new truck.
You got a... It's life's simple pleasures. We got farms. I bought a farm. Yeah. I bought a farm 5 miles down the road from Wynonna.
8. I counted 8.
Is it 8 miles? Ever since I can remember, owning a piece of land was the ultimate success story to me. I'm not interested in big cars or...
You hate limos.
But to have a chunk of land, especially in our business, which is probably the most fickle business of all, to have something that is actually there beneath your feet for you to come to when you come in off the road.
And with this farm, it's the most consistent thing that we have. I mean, it's always there, and you got to have somewhere to go when you get off that bus.
Shake and swirl. Shake and swirl.
Do I need some music?
Yeah, John, swirl and shake. Okay, now pour the excess. Unstop your hole.
I'm real dizzy.
Are you dizzy? No, please. Unstop your hole, please.
I don't like mine.
Well, why? Yours, give me... Unstop your hole and pour the excess out.
I like yours better.
Let me see.
I like that.
Pour the excess out into a cup.
Oh, I like this one better.
Yeah, why? You just needed more paint in there.
Okay, let me have it.
Unstop your hole.
Seriously, it's my ball.
Mom, give it to Y. It's not yours, Mom.
Okay.
Take yours.
Okay,
You know, the fighting in this family, it's no wonder I ran away when I was an infant. Okay.
None of us are ever going to see this again, the millennium.
Exactly.
And we know about change.
Yeah.
And we want to celebrate everybody. And I think you should come.
I'm there.
True story.
I can't imagine that I didn't get a formal invitation until this moment. You know, the Judd family without Rosita? What the heck is that?
And we should do a quartet.
No, I will play tambourine.
With streamers and all that.
You know Wynonna turns off the microphone when I sing with you. You know it, Naomi. Don't act like you don't know. Caesar's Palace on stage, me and Wynonna. My mic was dead. That wasn't fun, Naomi.
I did it in love.
Yeah, right.
I did it in love. And there are 2 people that I love more than anything in the world, and that's Ashley and my mother. So I want the 3 of us to celebrate together with Rosita, who has come into the family recently. It's been so many years that you've been away. I forget.
But I've always been there spiritually. I just, for some reason, I was given up, and I was raised by a family of New York Irish people. I don't know how it happened. They dyed my hair black.
It's called
Big, medium, and bouncy.
No.
It was called what?
No.
That's like a stripper song. Big, medium, bouncy.
Well, I'm getting tired of answering these questions, so I'm going to come up. We met in prison, you know. I mean, I'm getting tired of answering the same questions.
At the sing-along bar at the Ramada down in Orange County.
All right, well, sorry, it is a talk show. I'm supposed to ask questions. We'll take a commercial break. We'll come back to dead silence because Wynonna's sick of answering questions. Don't go away.
You've agreed to sit down and talk about a subject that to many people is still shameful, to many people is embarrassing. Many people don't even want to say the words mental illness. What mental illness did you have?
Panic attacks.
Naomi Judd is not alone. According to the American Psychiatric Association, 13 million Americans suffer from panic disorders or phobias. A panic attack is not just a case of nerves, but a very real and frightening physical experience.
This is not just stage fright. This is not just a case of butterflies in your stomach.
No, this is not just having the jitters because you're going in for that big job interview or you got a blind date you've built yourself up for. No, this is the real McCoy. I suddenly woke up standing on the bed as we were moving down the road with my heart racing, my chest felt tight, I felt short of breath, and my legs were shaking uncontrollably. I thought I was having a heart attack. I didn't know what was going on. It was like I was in mortal danger.
Judd was sweating, dizzy, and struggling to breathe.
And I rushed over to my little window, tore open the curtains, and it was completely frosted over. And I ripped off my pajama top and pushed my chest into the frost to sort of shock my body back into normalcy. That didn't work, and of course the next day I just sort of cackled at the thought of a passing trucker seeing Mama Judd in this pose, but there was nothing funny about it at the moment.
How long did it last?
15 or 20 minutes. And what happens, Cynthia, is you're so freaked out at losing control and feeling like you're losing your marbles that you become obsessed with the fear that it's going to happen again. I think I was in shock for a few months. But it's a bit like after a funeral, you know, the out-of-town guests go home to their normal routines, the flowers die, and I'd pasted all the photos in the scrapbook, read all the fan mail, and then, okay, I'm here, and the world has stopped. Here, I'll tell you a secret. I just took my pantyhose off under the counter, and you didn't even notice, did you?
Well, here you go. This is it. This is, let's see. This is what I dug out. Now this got, let me tell you, my flashbacks to the 90s got so much more intense throughout the pandemic. And my flashback to stuff I love, the music, right? So what I did is I got onto eBay and I thought, let me get, I didn't live through the 80s. Well, maybe a little bit, but I was not an 80s kid. I was a 90s kid. So I thought, let me go back and let me get the vinyl copies. So I went on eBay. This is all throughout 2020. I went on eBay. And so I have amassed what I kind of had as a kid. As a kid growing up in small town Texas, I had my cassette tapes of the Judds. Now I have my vinyl. I had no clue I'd be bringing it out to talk about it. I hope you enjoyed. I gathered up some, clips are hard to find. Really good, like throwback footage pieces. It's always just the best of or top 10 clips. And I thought, how do we honor, this duo and this woman? I thought, how do we do it? How do we do it? And I was sitting around waiting for someone to do it. You know how that goes in life, right? I'm sure someone will get around to it. But then I started thinking, okay, this is not 1995. There is no TNN. There's not going to be a primetime special. I'll do it. So that's what you just saw. That was a collection curated by me of the best of the Judds. I wonder what it is, and I think I have the answer, but we all have our artists that we're drawn to. We all have our favorites. And I can only imagine, growing up, small town Texas, me feeling like I didn't fit in. When I saw these two, I knew instantly they didn't fit in, but still somehow it was working for them. That was my inspiration. But, being inspired, you have to have events in your life occur that lead to that inspiration or that cause that inspiration. So if I were just a kid listening to my George Strait, Garth Brooks, the Judds, all that stuff, if I was just a kid listening to it and not having a great mom who took me up to Austin and down to San Antonio to all the shows, I don't know how real it would have been. Does that make sense? You have to kind of get in there and have those moments. And can you believe one of the first books I read as a kid? I mean, what are people reading in 3rd and 4th grade? I was reading this. God, Spoiler alert, I did not have a lot of friends. These 3 girls were my closest friends, okay? This is a huge book, too, by the way. A tell-all. As I heard someone say recently, true stories and other lies. I love that quote, true stories and other lies. But this was one of the first books I read as a young person. Can you imagine? And between my ADD and my a few learning disabilities, I got through this because I wanted to. I was determined. This is one of the first books I've read. So this is going somewhere. Wait for it. I promise the payoff is so worth it, as usual. So this comes out. I'm at home, south of Austin, Texas. I'm 9 years old. And we hear on the radio that Naomi Judd is in town signing copies of her new book, Love Can Build a Bridge. Well, what we need is a bridge to get to Austin because we're like 20 minutes south of Austin and there's that whole highway thing and that whole traffic thing. And I tell my mom, I say, Mom, we need to go up to Book People in Austin. Naomi Judd is signing her book. I think it's important that I be there to support her. You know that's what I said, right? She's going to be upset if I'm not there. Anyway, so my mom says, no, we can't go. Keep in mind, you just got to visualize me. Look at me right now. And look at the way I'm behaving and my excitement and all that. It was the exact same thing. Just go back, a couple decades. The 9-year-old me is the me today. I'm just, the excitement and everything was the same. Nothing's changed. So my mom says, it's not going to work. There's a long line. There's no way this is going to, you're not going to be able to get your book signed, blah, 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 all that stuff. And finally she said, okay, we'll go. I'll drive you up to Austin where Naomi Judd is signing her autobiography. I'll drive you up to Austin, but under one condition. You have to understand that there's no way, and I don't want you coming back home disappointed, but there's no way you're going to be able to meet this person. There's a long line, and you're not going to be able to get your book signed. But because I'm a good mom, I will take you up to Book People to watch the circus. Well, I love the circus. So yes, there we go. We drive up to Book People in Austin, Texas. You guys in Texas know Book People. So we get there, and there is the tour bus. Now things are getting real. Because keep in mind, I'd only seen these people and all my other country friends. I've only seen them on CMT and TNN and TV so far, right? And maybe at a distance from the Alamo Dome at the George Strait Annual Country Music Festival, okay? So now it's real. Now there's that one of the Judd buses right out front. Then we walk in and they say, okay, are you here to get your book signed or are you here to shop? And my mom nudges me and says, say you're here to shop. I'm here to shop. Okay, go this way. Well, that way got me really close to where this author and Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter was signing her book, okay? So there she is. And keep in mind, I got to keep reminding you that I'm 9 years old, small town Texas. I don't even know if I had any teeth at that point. Just get the visual, okay? Country bumpkin, okay? So anyway, there she is. There's Naomi Judd. And by the way, it was like a couple weeks later, she was performing Love Can Build a Bridge on the Super Bowl halftime show. So it was like such a prime moment, such a cool moment. And I couldn't believe I was seeing someone who I had only seen on TV in real life. The weird thing is since that time, I've run into a lot of people in real life who I had maybe seen on TV. And this is the only one I ever met, the only person I ever met who looked exactly like they did on TV. It was just looked like a Barbie doll, Cinderella, something like that. And by the way, for those watching live, if you see a comment by Mia was there with me that night. Mia was there with me that night. She can vouch for this moment, driving up to Austin, and hopefully she hasn't given away what happens next. So there I am. I'm watching everyone get their books signed, and I'm starting to realize what my mom meant when she said, and what situation she was trying to set up when she said, look, 9-year-old Joe, here's the thing. Don't be upset when you don't get an autograph. Don't be upset. You're not going to be able, this is not a meet and greet. We haven't set anything up. There's a long line. They're not even going to be able to get to the people who are currently at the end of the line. So just be prepared, set your expectations properly. So I'm in the bookstore at Book People in Austin for about 30 minutes, and I'm hovering over like one of the shelves, and I'm just watching it all play out. I'm like, oh my God, there's one of my favorite singers right there. Oh my God, I'm watching it all play out. Then, by the way, it helps being a little kid. People are still nice to me today, but when you're a little kid, you can get away with anything. So if you're a kid out there, do whatever you want. This is the time to get away with it. So I look over, and suddenly Naomi Judd, who's in the middle of signing books, in between signing books, she looks over at me and she sees me. Wow. Like the look on my face is just like, oh my. And she sees me and she goes like this. And I go, me? So my mom comes to get me and she says, okay, time to go home. Oh God. Okay, let's go home. So what happened next was the first of a series of things that would happen in my life. Some people call it luck, but they're wrong. What happened next was just one of the first times it ever happened to me. Right place, right time, meant to be, something like that. Things that would happen in my life that would cause me to believe, just in general. Just believing in general was all it took. And we're exiting the store. We're leaving Book People because you remember, for those of you listening from the beginning of the story, my mom said we couldn't go there because I wasn't going to get an autograph and I wasn't going to meet Naomi Judd. So we're leaving the store. In order to get to the exit, we had to cut through the line of autograph seekers. Raise your hand if you can see where this is going. Something I didn't tell you is that I had my book in my hand because sorry, Book People, I had not purchased it there, but I had my book in my hand and in my arms as we were exiting. We cut through the line of autograph seekers. Would you believe that very second that I was cutting through was the very moment that the coordinator, security, whoever it was, turned around to retrieve the next person in line. By mistake or whatever, that was now me. I had now gone from, little 9-year-old fan in the corner to in line by accident, and not just in line, but next in line. I'm cutting through the line, not cutting the line, but trying to get through the line to exit. And this guy leans over to me and says, all right, young man, you're next. And without missing a beat, my mom leans down and says, Joseph, don't say anything. And we're looking around. So I have my book in my hand. Oh, oh God. Do you see now, those of you who know me well, do you see why I seem to believe that anything is possible? This little thing that happened to me that was a big deal, especially for a 9-year-old kid in small town Texas. This little thing that happened to me. Okay, get your book ready. You're next. I am. That has now become I am. So I stepped up. Keep in mind, this woman looked just like she did on TV. And I had so many things to tell her, to pass along to Wynonna and to tell Ashley and all this, Keep in mind, how many friends do you think I had? These girls were my friends as a kid. And probably the only women I were really all that interested in. Okay. So I get up there, and this is a larger than life moment. And I had so many things I wanted to say, but I froze. And so Naomi Judd said to me, as she's signing, and she wrote Naomi 94. And as she's signing it, she says, "Thank you so much for coming out here to visit me on my birthday." So that was Naomi Judd's birthday, 1994, Book People, Austin, Texas. Thank you, Naomi. You were very nice to me. And I've met you a few times. I was able to meet Naomi Judd a few more times over the years, and she was always really, really sweet and really nice to me. Great songwriter. Several of those Judd hits were written or co-written by Naomi. And I think I'm going to share with you something never before seen footage. I only retrieved this during the pandemic. I went down to my storage unit in Texas. Reminds me of a Judd song. Met my first love down in Texas at a club in San Antonio. I went to my storage unit in Texas, retrieved these old VHS home movie type tapes. Had no idea what was on them. I'm going to show you 20 seconds of what was on them. Am I going to regret this? All right. Stand by for it.
Naomi, 94. And this was to me, and I am so happy I got it.
That was my autograph. Anyway, this live that I've been doing tonight, and this live that you've joined me for here on Facebook and wherever else it goes, this is dedicated not only to the Judds and the great music of the Judds, and to congratulate the Judds on being inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame today, and honoring the life of Naomi Judd. But this is for you, and for all the people who have their favorites. You know, you might be looking at this collection like I look at some people's, I don't want to say anything, but I have a friend who's obsessed with Barry Manilow, and Barry Manilow is great. Barry Manilow is Barry Manilow, but you're part of, you've seen him so many times that you're part of what's the big deal? I'm sure I have several friends saying, what's the big deal about the Judds? So this live video is dedicated to you and to whoever your Fenity fixation is. You find your Fenity fixations in life, and that's just your tribe. Those are just your inspirational people. So keep following your own bliss, your own internal compass, and keep following those that inspire you, you know? Do that. That's what this video is for, okay? And I'm glad I got to tell you my story, my book. Hi to Sammy. Hi to Mia. Mia says that was a long line. Sure was. Hi to Philip. And who was that? David down in Texas. I'll see you guys real soon. Have a really great evening. And here's to the memory of the late, great Naomi Judd.